With an eye towards a greener future, Dr. Imad Mahawili envisions a day when wind will become a significant source of power. His latest invention is a small wind turbine designed to reach some of the world's 1.6 billion people without electricity.
But then you need to check the junction box before we do this test again. I am the Chief Technical Officer and one of two founders for Windtronics, a company that's bringing to market a breakthrough technology in the small wind business.
This is good.
Okay, come back here. We want to make sure the turbine is stable at high full fan speed. I am an American, and I want this civilization to continue to grow and to focus on being more enlightened about the fundamentals of what drives a society, and that is energy.
Going on.
Our 6-foot turbine generates about 1,000 to 1,500 kilowatt hours a year and has a strong potential to reach the corners of the world where there is no electricity. That's very nice. It looks good. This is my 7th startup in my career. And while we work very hard, we work very intensely, but we work very smart. It's not about time, it's about ideas and solutions. That's excellent. It was my father who burned into me hard work and ethical work as the path to success, and he's turned out to be 100% right. My father was a retired military officer in Baghdad, Iraq. I was the youngest of 8 children. And my father, he was a tough love guy, but he gave me the freedom to explore my talents. Growing up, I remember having prisms to play with the diffraction of light, and sometimes I would try to make perfume by distilling rose petals. And that's a very big story because it causes a little explosion in the flask that I was using, and this is the fun stuff that I was exploring. Spending that year, the freedom of thought, the freedom of action takes over you. And so the freedom and the protection that the society offers our individuals makes me a very proud American indeed. I came up with the very small turbine concept when I was with my family. It was Christmas 2004. We were on our way to Orlando, Florida, to spend a week there for a Christmas vacation. Understandably, we're from Michigan, so it's very cold. And so we were in Atlanta in the airport and then watched the news.
It's coming in. It's coming again. It's coming again? Yeah.
So the tsunami hit, and I was simply shocked to see what was happening in that end of the world. And learned about Banda Aceh and the devastation of that area. The magnitude of that tsunami was unbelievable. Not only the loss of life, but also the difficulty of helping people. And to imagine these people, how they continue to survive in an environment where there is no power, no light. That left quite an imprint on me for the human condition in those areas. After the tsunami, I spent several months reflecting on this. The United States has an abundance of energy, and our energy is cheap. We have the largest, 27% of the world coal reserves are in the United States, whereas many parts of the world, they're completely dependent on the availability of very, very expensive energy. These are wind speed delineations.
Yep, these are just the wind speed bins.
What is this 25? During the research, I found that wind is fairly prevalent in those areas, but most wind turbines end up being very costly, very inefficient. So my goal is to focus on a potential creative solution that embodies economics and technology. The challenge of developing wind technologies is you have to not only test it as an electric generator, but more important, you have to test it as a response machine to a wind flow. And wind, as I always say to my colleagues, wind is, which means a wind has its own mind. It comes and goes every few seconds. So the wind turbine has to be responsive to it.
This truck allows us to test the upper end limits of the turbine in our electronics. We can actually make 40 miles an hour wind if we need to, not rely on natural wind. Some people actually follow us for the loop and follow us back to the office and say, is that a wind turbine powered truck?
And that's typically the conversation, including the law enforcement office. When they come in here, they're curious about it, but they're excited about it. Our turbine is installed on top of the roof of the tech center. And the real technological development here is that most wind turbines are typically three-bladed. They use gears in the center hub of the turbine. We decided to actually do the opposite, turn the standard turbine technology inside out, eliminate the gears, and put the electric generation at the perimeter. And when we do that, it ends up being efficient, cost-effective, and very quiet.
Okay, so he's distributing through Germany.
We're already in India in early test stages. We are here, we're in Europe. The past 9 to 10 months, we shipped about 1,000 turbines worldwide. Excuse me, guys. I think we should review what's happening in India. Constantly updating our design performance, and we're educating and training our dealers. Let's go in there and examine the drawings. Tell me what this is saying. I mean, I don't follow that circus quite well. I have the great pleasure and actually challenge, because they challenged me in working with two of my children, Sarah and Mark.
Essentially. And then that would be what we would ship them as a product, so that they could implement it into the system that already exists.
What do you think, Mark? Doable?
Yeah, it's very doable.
I agree. So let's actually push on converting a smart box, bring it here for testing.
I love working for my dad. He is very intense. He also is very passionate and very deeply human and emotional.
What's your proposal? I downloaded it this morning.
I think we all have a great sense of contribution to his vision.
The wind market is slated to be growing every year. And I think we could actually create new industry, just like if you and I were talking in 1911, before the automobile became so ubiquitous. And there would be highways, you know, there would be manufacturing of the automobile industry. Now I'm talking to you, I'm saying there could be wind highways. Thanks, guys. I think we're done with this test. We make R&D look easy. Yeah. We have to find ways creatively, because we are Americans, of how to continue this great civilization.